Hello, welcome. Thank you for checking out the LiveBlah podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy, and today we have Poet, Kay, Rebecca, and Josh. Enjoy the show. Nicholas Wright asks, when is the right time? This person says, I love this girl and been with her for 3 months going on 4. I know 100% that I love her and I love to elope with her, but when would be the right time because I don't want to rush it, but I know I want it, and if it was up to me, I'd ask her right now, literally. Being with someone for 3 or 4 months is way too quick of a time in order for someone to truly know that they love someone else. That would constitute being in a relationship for roughly between 2 to 4 years, in my opinion, because you really know who they are after a long period of time. Does that make sense?
No.
So you're telling me that if you met a girl, right, and you knew them for that amount of time, you would be willing to marry them?
Well, first you'd have to accept that you could know someone 100 years if you both lived that long, and it doesn't mean you actually know them, you know. Some people are very good at concealing parts of their personality and feelings, and to the person who's lost in love, perception's not always as clear.
Well, dude, but the honeymoon phase of a relationship or infatuation stage usually lasts for about 12 months.
I agree with that.
So why in the hell would you want to marry somebody within that time when you haven't truly gotten to know them yet?
Wait, which part do you agree with?
That you need to wait a whole year until you really get to know someone that you would want to marry.
At least minimally, you know what I mean? I couldn't see that.
Yeah, minimum. I know there are people out there that have successful marriages and everything off of a 3-month relationship, but it's not recommended, in my opinion.
There's a thing I saw that you really like someone if you've last 4 months with them, and that's when you like somebody. If you love somebody, then it's going to be a few more months or maybe a few years. So marrying someone after 3 months, that's kind of ridiculous. Sorry, but it is.
That's insane. There's no timetable on like or love.
Well, don't you consider that there's an infatuation stage? And don't you think once you get past that stage, when the feelings die down and you've gotten to know that person, after that? I mean, there's a change. Why do you think people say that, their partner has changed over a certain amount of time? You know what I mean? They were different before, and everything was because they saw the perfect side of them because they didn't show all their flaws or whatever, right? And then later on down the road, they see them differently because they don't hide themselves as they did in the beginning of the relationship. They didn't put on that front and all that, and they even moved in with each other and then had arguments and stuff and figured out, this person isn't the right one for me.
See, that's the problem right there, though, is that what you say about you put on your best front, whatever. When you start out a relationship, there should be no fronting. I know everyone wants that pure a certain way, but there's no timetable on how much you love or like them. If you're both just being straight up from the beginning, you can know after a month that of interacting with some person, depending on how you interacted, the environment, your personalities, what stage you are at your life, that you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, or that you never want to be apart from them. It can be that soon. I think it really depends more on what stage of your life are you at compared to some universal timetable.
I agree. I mean, I don't think that it would necessarily be a bad thing to sustain a relationship for a longer period of time. And also I'm not doubting that it's impossible to marry someone and have a lifelong relationship with them at a 3-month period of just getting to know them and then getting married and all that stuff. But in my opinion, it doesn't sound like something that's really favorable in regard to their odds of sustaining a relationship. You know what I mean?
That and their profile says they're 18, and it's kind of young. I got married at 19, and it didn't turn out well. So I mean, you gotta kind of consider that you're young, and that you don't really want to be tied down that way, unless like you're both crazy about traveling or experience life. But it's gonna change your life to get married, and that young, you're gonna realize what you're missing out on in a way. I don't know how else to explain it.
I'm 19.
That's a great way to explain it, actually.
I mean, I'm 19, and I've still wanted to experience a lot. Like, I'm at university now, so I've still got a lot to experience here. I still want to travel and just kind of
live life. Yeah, live
life, yeah, before, because that's a huge commitment, and you got to pretty much change your entire life to cater for that, because you've got to pay bills, you got to look after one another, and it's gonna take up a lot of your life.
Going off of what you just said, I think that's a fantastic point. If you're gonna marry somebody, I think first you should ask yourself, one, do I know what I want truly, and is this person what I think they are or what I know they are? You know what I mean? Are they really this person that is the person of my dreams and is all that? For one. Second, how long have I been in a relationship with them? And what kind of person are they? And for one, am I financially stable? Do I have a full-time job? Am I able to support myself? Am I able to support someone else as well? What if we have kids? Am I able to support them? And also, this is another human being, another human life. And in my opinion, being 18 years of age, which I'm glad, Kay, that you looked that up, is just far too young to know, for one, what you truly want. And I don't think most people at 18 aren't able to be financially independent unless you're some genius who was lucky enough to find an opportunity that made them a millionaire by the time they were 16 or something. I don't know.
I think this kind of goes along the lines of you have to love yourself before you love someone else. That you need to know who you are and what you want before you include another person in your life.
I agree on that. That's for sure. And there's so many life experiences to have that being tied down in a relationship. Technically, it's not being tied down. It's someone who you want to share life experiences with. But are you really old enough to want to share your life with someone versus experiencing the life that you could be on your own? Like that you're supposed to when you're young, you know what I mean?
I agree with you, Jim. At 18, I thought I knew what I wanted in life, but thinking about it now, I was just so naive to what was actually going on in the world and what I could have in life as well, I guess. And I kind of agree with what Kay was saying before about needing to love yourself before feeling or showing that love for someone else. And the thing that I keep coming back to in this question, I've read it many times over while you guys have been talking, is that this person says they're 100%, that they know 100% that they love the other person. Well, if you know 100%, if you're sure about that, then what difference will another few months make in terms of an official status or title on your relationship?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was 18 last year, and I was 100% sure that I really liked this girl, and she turned out to be a real bitch. So you just never know. So you got to give these things time, and what is another few months or another year? If you really do love her that much, then sweet.
Do you really need to get married at that age?
No.
It's not necessary.
Dude, okay. Most marriage. Here's this. I'm sorry. I'm kind of.
He's heated.
Okay, most relationships that are developed most marriages anyway, before the age of 25, statistically do not last. They end up in divorce. Now, do you know how much a divorce costs on average? $30,000.
Fuck.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Also the drama that goes along with it.
Yeah, there's all the emotional cost as well, I guess.
Can I share something really
No,
quick?
go ahead.
Okay, so something you might want to consider if you do get married extremely young and then end up going to college. Like I did, I was married, I went to a private college, and when people found out that I was married so young, I got really weird reactions, and they almost started to treat me differently because I was like suddenly in this different phase of my life. I was so far ahead of them. And you kind of have to consider that. I know you shouldn't really care about what people think about you, but you will get some weird reactions like, oh, you're married. Well, that's kind of young.
And also, like, let's just say you have a social base, a big social base. Won't those people go out of your life because you're committed with somebody else?
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah.
Doesn't that happen?
Even getting married at 21, I had similar reactions, Kay, because I was 2/3 of the way through my degree and then got married at the end of my second year of uni and went back for my third year, and I just got treated so differently, and it was really weird.
But one thing that's kind of cool about being married is the responsibility aspect, and being more of an adult, as you could say. Or I mean,
sometimes
ironically, like you could say, even though you're kind of more or less becoming an adult and developing your own identity with someone else or whatever, it's cool. But these people are just so young that they should just flat out wait for it. And if you love somebody, then what's the rush? What's the need to get married right now? Like, if you loved each other, don't you think if you both were 100% in love, wouldn't that last 10 years from now?
Hopefully.
And if it doesn't, then that's like, I would say that would be a relief not to be married to that person because of irreconcilable differences or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to go through the emotional and financial costs of a divorce. It's just, especially someone who's 18. Man, when I was 18, I seriously, like when I was even 16 or, around that time frame, I didn't know what I wanted. I mean, you get into relationships, you discover kind of what you really want in a person, but you don't truly know until you've really had a lot of experience and you're older, and you mature. Prefrontal cortex doesn't even fully develop until you're 25 years of age. So, I mean, it's kind of a rational decision versus emotional.
I mean,
That's what it should be anyway.
If this guy's really happy with this girl, then go have fun with that, If you're happy in the relationship, then just have fun with it. Don't feel the need to, make it like super official. Just have fun.
If you wanted to be super official, just post your relationship on Facebook.
Oh no!
Just don't be in a hurry to grow up too quickly. I mean, you're still 18, so yeah, like Josh said, just have fun and live life.
Have lots of sex.
Yes.
Nothing like, don't marry someone you don't enjoy having sex with. I don't care how shallow it sounds. This is an enjoyable activity that you're going to use to possibly procreate, and you're going to be together for who knows how long. If you don't enjoy one of the most pleasurable experiences with this other person who's supposed to be the second half of you guys need to work something out.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that kind of brings on the issue of settling for less than you really want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a big one. Because sometimes you get really lonely.
And the saying "love is blind" is very true.
Is it?
It is. Anyway, speaking of sex, there's another question here that comes from Abby McLoverwoodall.
Wow.
And this person is 16, and they ask, "Is it okay to be horny a lot and only be 16? I always want sex." I'm assuming this person is female, and so
they must lock her up and not let her read any science books.
I'm gonna let you guys start on that. In my opinion, after.
Quick answer: yes, it's fine. It's fine to be horny. It's fine. Just
there's something wrong with you if you're not horny at 16.
Yeah, someone said that, and the answer is that they'd be more concerned if they didn't have a sex drive.
I guess it kind of ties into your beliefs in a sense, because depending upon what you believe in will constitute why you feel that's okay or not to be okay. So, I like the context of the post. It says #SexAddict ? It's pretty funny. But I mean, if you're like religious or whatever, and you want to save yourself, then more power to you. And it's still okay to feel that way. If you're not, then well, go with what you're wanting. Satisfy yourself intimately with somebody else.
Yeah, Jesus loves, so why can't you?
Well, that's kind of. I mean, there's a different context on that.
Oh, really? Semantics.
Well, I don't think freaking had sex with everyone. I don't. That's not the love they're using there.
Yeah, Jesus is coming.
Quite literally.
Poet.
What is wrong with you, man? That's so jacked up. What's wrong with you, dude? That's so messed up.
Welcome to the Blah Therapy Podcast.
Welcome to Poet is Fired. Goodbye. Oh my god. But I don't know for this to answer this question. Yeah, it's fine. You can also bring up like the fucking double standard that comes to between like men and women, and like men usually when they feel that way or have sex with a lot of girls, they're like like it's like positive for them, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's like for women, if they want to do that, well, it's frowned upon. It's like right.
It's because they really don't want to do that.
I mean, from a female's perspective, I bet that's a lot different. Not just because of that.
Sure, they could have a crazy sex drive, but usually even then they want it. It's not the same as a guy. Like the reasons they will have a sex drive like that. It's almost
just to procreate. You think it's just to procreate?
No, not even. Because these days with the addition of
Rebecca,
I know, right?
Help me.
Well, the question kind of is already answered here.
Well, no, but we got a different problem going on.
Well, let me say really quick. With the addition of the pill, you find so many girls that really just they don't care about having children. In fact, they're so happy that they can be on the pill and not risk getting pregnant. But I don't know. Whenever I see a girl so promiscuous, it's almost like she's searching for love. Like she hopes one of these guys something's gonna click. Well, with men, there doesn't have to be any type of emotional attachment for us to have the drive. It's just nature.
Okay. All right. Let's just go on to a different topic here. I guess this one's kind of...
No challenges, ladies? Jeez. No, I'm messing with you guys.
All right. So we're going to go to this a school-related question, and that is coming from Antisocial Moz, I think. This person asks, This girl at school keeps attacking my friends and I. She calls everyone names and is always rude without reason. I don't understand why. She has gone to my friend's house and her aunt is claiming that we bully her when we don't even talk to her. And her aunt then attacked my friend, all because she stood up for me. She scares me and I fear for my friend's safety. I don't know how to handle her. Any advice would be nice. Now, for one, I think this person should not be, I don't know why you guys are dealing with that. I mean, if they're at school and you have some adults there, well, tell some adults or whatever, get some help to deal with this person, I guess. Because bullying isn't a good thing, obviously. And, just definitely get help with that,
What's up with all these people getting attacked?
I know.
Jeez.
I just had a question last week about that.
I think you guys need to get together, form a Justice League or something.
I am Batman.
It's not that I don't feel like we can't help this person, but it's such an obvious thing. Like you mentioned, the authorities, or if it's school, a teacher, principal, somebody. If it's that important to you, there's so many more options than just the Q&A on Blah Therapy.
Yeah.
I don't know what anyone else in the Q&A can tell her that shouldn't already be kind of obvious. But then again, what's obvious to one is rocket science to another.
The people on Blah Therapy will. I'm speaking to this person who asked the question. The people on Blah Therapy will help you in the sense of they will be there for you, and they will support you, and they will give you encouragement, all that stuff. But in terms of fixing this problem, that's something that you have to do. None of us can help with that. That's something that you have to do personally.
The one thing we can really do is give advice, and our advice usually is practical. So it's more along the lines of, for this type of problem especially, just there's a problem there, and there's a solution for it. Do the solution, you'll get rid of the problem. You know what I mean? And the solution is, authority.
Duck and weave.
The other thing with that, though, from a teacher's perspective, I know that some kids might be scared to go and tell an adult for the fear of it getting worse. But in reality, it will get worse if you didn't do something about it anyway.
So it's why not, right?
Yeah, and sometimes as a teacher in that position, something's going on, but because you don't have both sides of the story, you can't actually do anything about it. So, yeah, I would recommend go and talk to someone.
The more something someone gets away with, the more likely they're going to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of the worse it will get, really. Or the more likely it is to happen again to someone else.
Alrighty. So now we're going to go on to a relationship question. Are you guys excited for that?
I'm single.
Are you guys bored?
I'm hot as a rock.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's good.
What's wrong with you, man?
Like a rock.
Are you glad to have me back?
I'm debating that now. No, I'm joking.
Did you notice the pause there, Josh?
Slightly.
Okay, so this comes from Jay Morin, and he says, I just turned 20 and I'm still single. The title of the question is, will I ever find someone?
No.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Because there's some more to the question, but, I'm just going to leave it at that. What do you guys think? If you're 20 years old and you're single, and you have that question in your mind, will I ever find someone? What do you think would be some advice for that person?
Yes, you will find somebody. There is someone out there for everybody. It's a generic answer. Yes, I know, but it's true.
Yeah, go to your local back pages. You'll find somebody.
Also, in the UK, there is an entire line of cuddle cafes about to open.
Full of little redhead men.
I'm not little, I'm 6'1".
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. I'm tall as
you're like Sentinel over here. He's 6'5". You guys are ripping through women. Sorry.
Being someone who's 20 years of age, obviously you have so much time. Even though they say life is short, I mean, still you have your whole life ahead of you, in a sense. Most people live, till they're 80-some years old, so on average.
100. Be positive.
120.
There we go.
But, I mean, most people live a long life in general. So, I mean, obviously you have so much time ahead of you, and I don't think it's something to worry about, really. I mean, it's kind of sucks for the moment that you're single at the time, but I mean, great relationships happen and start when you're really not looking for them, don't you think?
Yep. I would have to agree with that, Jim.
I mean, the other thing that you got to think about is that, like, obviously, you've still got all of that life to live, so, you're probably gonna move out at some point or move somewhere, and you'll probably find someone. New jobs, you'll find somebody, and college, there'll be someone in your class that you like. There's gonna be someone out there that you'll find. It's just a matter of looking and biding time until then.
All right, keep in mind this is also a woman as well. So.
Oh wow, then she doesn't have to do anything. Just go outside. You'll find somebody. I mean...
Well, she's saying that she's the pickiest girl on the planet and that she's frustrated that she's turning people down because she doesn't feel they're right for them. But that actually kind of bothers me because it's kind of giving me the impression that she's not giving anybody a chance. It's like they can ask her on a date or something and she's going to be like, no, because I don't really think you're my type. It's like, give the person a couple dates. Give them, a chance to prove themselves.
Here, hold on. And this person also says, no, I do not like girls. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't found what they call my other half. Okay. In the context of that, you will never find somebody who is your other half. Ever. Because there may be a person that has similar qualities, characteristics, all that. But everyone is their own individual, and everyone is different. They have different quirks, personalities, in general, and you will never find somebody exactly like you. So some traits might be similar, but you're never going to find that perfect person, because there's no such thing as that.
Again, you need to give the people approach you a chance.
I agree with that, Kay.
And maybe not focus on their flaws so much too.
That's actually a great point.
Because what if it's just like a social tick or something that they do, and you kind of just have to get over that because that's who they are.
I actually really like your point, Kay. Well done.
My sister has been married to my brother-in-law for over 20 years. And they both have different quirks about them, and I'm surprised they're still married, but, I mean, one thing she does is she always finds the good in the guy. And, I mean, they're of different race as well. And so, I mean, there's so many things that are different with them, but the guy's, she thinks, like, well, he's very positive, he supports me, he does all these things, and he's very loving and all that type of stuff. I mean, there's so many positives on people that you can't have to dive deeper into and not just go off that initial bias or whatever. That, I mean, cause how can you truly get to know a person if you're just like, hey, hi, one day, bye, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's because of the initial bias. Because sometimes people don't open up, the first few dates, and just because they're not comfortable yet, perhaps. I don't know. But, I mean, it's necessary to give people time and to see if they're the right one for you.
Or you know what? She should also travel. Because if she really is this picky, then she should just, widen her horizon. Go around the world.
California.
There's not much here anymore. California is a sinking ship. I'm thinking like overseas. Find yourself a hot foreign guy. Miguel or something like that.
I'm a hot foreign guy.
Are British people really that foreign?
I'm different.
Poet.
What? I didn't even know what I said. What?
My God.
Man, you were stoned as a rock.
That's an odd term, or stoned as a rock.
I don't
Think
know.
about it.
Yeah, you're stoned.
No.
Just a little bit there, Paula. Just a little bit.
But no, I really do think she should travel, because I've kind of felt the same way lately myself. It feels as though, I haven't been all around America. It kind of feels like there is the typical American girl as far as interests go in culture. And so I figured maybe I have to travel around the world to see how different are women in other countries, because I have dated girls from other countries and there is a difference. And so it kind of makes me wonder, what else is out there? And so I think this person should do that. Don't limit yourself to either being picky and alone in your little neighborhood or giving someone a chance that maybe you're not even going to truly give them a chance. You just convince yourself you are because you go on those few dates, but you just constantly think the negative. So challenge yourself, Stop putting everyone else in this box when you yourself are pretty much there too.
The other thing I would suggest, I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, in my early teens, one of our youth group leaders suggested one night at youth group when we were talking about relationships, suggested that we write a list of 7 characteristics that we would like in an ideal partner, but they weren't allowed to be physical characteristics. So traits that we would like in a partner, or things that we would like an ideal partner to be good at. So 7 of those kind of things, and I didn't even have anyone in mind at the time, and when I ended up meeting my now husband for the first time and kind of got to know him over a few weeks and a few months before we started dating, I realized that he actually ticked all of my 7 boxes for my characteristics or traits.
Oh wow, congratulations.
Which was amazing, because at the time of writing it, we didn't even know the other one existed, kind of thing. So that could always be another option that this person could do, along with what Poet was saying, and kind of exploring elsewhere, I guess.
That's a great testimony to the fact that relationships based on personal traits, personality, characteristics, and all that type of stuff last way longer than those based off of physical characteristics.
Yeah, it was really hard to come up with those characteristics at the time, but eventually, a few hours later, I had my list and put it away and didn't even think of it until months later. And I still have that list somewhere in our house now.
That's a pretty romantic story, actually.
The weird thing was that his youth group had also done a similar thing.
Wow.
Really?
See, come on, write this already. Just get your pen and pad out and write your little book.
But not physical characteristics or traits.
That's tough. Can you tell us what some of them were?
One of them was that he
That's tough.
had to.
Yeah, I really have a hard time thinking of like other than like goofy.
A couple of
but
them
go
were
ahead.
that he had to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's one. I like that.
That he had to cook. Well, I ended up marrying a chef.
I like that.
And I can't remember other things, but it's kind of a physical one, kind of not, but the fact that he had to be taller than me.
Isn't that like a requirement for most women?
Yeah. I think so. But yeah, I can't remember the rest of them.
I think sense of humor is usually a big one for everyone. That's like number one for me, I think. If I have to really think about it, sense of humor. You gotta have like a super raw sense of humor. Nothing must offend you.
Non-physical thing. That's kind of ironic considering now that I'm thinking about it, it is kind of a little bit tough to think
look at you
I
giving me a hard time.
Honestly,
I mean, for me, I think a positive, like a positive outlook, or someone who's optimistic is someone who I'd find attractive. Because, I mean, if I'm going to be with somebody who's just always pessimistic, it's just, it doesn't uplift the relationship. It kind of brings it down.
Josh?
I mean, I think sense of humor is always a big one. It's a weird one, but if they like the same music as me, that's always kind of big in my eyes. I don't know why. It's just like that's where my main interest is. So
that's a big
so shared interests, that's a good one.
Yeah, so like a lot of shared interest. Positive, because that's always good. I don't want someone who's just like, oh, I hate myself constantly.
What the fuck? Why would they have
I think maturity is a big one, in my opinion. Maturity would have to be one of my biggest ones, because I don't want to date some little girl who wants everything her own way and, is always like, well, you need to buy me this, and you need to buy me that, blah, 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 and you need to do this for me, and do that. I'll do all this, and then what do I get in return? Nothing. You know what I mean? It's like...
I think another huge one for me is honesty. As long as... I mean...
Did you just add that?
What?
Did you really just add that?
Oh, wait, seriously?
So you want someone to bullshit you all the time?
I like compliments, I really like compliments.
Compliments are good, but, honesty is key, really.
I imagine
if
we all want...
honesty, how do you know if they're compliments or not?
Well, because they sound good.
But are they honest?
That's irrelevant. They sound good. It's like doing something that feels good. Even if it's bad,
How about this? Kay, you have a partner, right? What are some of the things that you find most attractive personality-wise about your partner?
His faithfulness to me.
That's actually a really good one.
That's really
cool.
Because, unfortunately for the both of us, we have a past of cheating. So, we've been together for like almost 3 years, coming up 3 years, and
wow,
we've been completely faithful to each other. And even when there are concerning times, or if he gets a female friend or anything, we make sure to reassure each other that we're here for one another, and that we love each other and all that stuff.
That's actually really awesome. And you guys aren't even married yet, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, all those are really great, qualities that people should look into versus, physical characteristics and physical traits that a lot of people seem to judge people by. You know what I mean? It's like there's beauty is only skin deep, as the old term says.
And I guess the thing that I found with that list was like you were saying before, I think it was you saying it, Jim, that it made me focus on the positives rather than the things that he didn't have, the negatives, which is also crucial.
No, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And I think, when you focus on positives, I mean, I think if you have two people in general who have a positive outlook on life, and you got a matching pair, you know what I mean? I wonder what that would be like for two pessimists. How would they go about that? I mean, if you think about it, like, you have two pessimists, like, would they imagine them being together? Like, what would that be like?
Maybe they would get together to be pessimists against everything else that is outside of them.
It would be interesting.
From observing throughout my life, a couple who are both pessimists, they actually end up being optimistic for each other's sake.
That is the cutest thing ever.
It's really cool.
Negative plus negative equals positive, right?
Wow, that makes so much sense when you really think about it, because the two negative, subtraction lines, when they come together, they make a positive symbol.
Aw, poet.
Oh, holy
Finally,
cow.
something cute.
It's true. Oh my gosh.
I may just need something to scrape my brain off the walls because you just blew my mind.
I'm gonna go with this question that you gave me, Kay, and it's for the recent event of that plane crash, that Malaysian plane crash or whatever. And this person needs help coping with that. But here's what it says. It comes from Your Lost Love, and it says, "Okay, this may seem stupid or something to others, but it's proving to be very difficult for me. Basically, the whole thing about the Malaysian Airlines being lost is really depressing me. I actually cried my eyes out this morning because I couldn't help but empathize with the people who were on the flight. I keep thinking about how if there are any survivors on that plane, they're stranded somewhere and that we'll all still have no idea about what they're going through. I really don't know what to do because I can't stop thinking about it."
I actually feel the same way about it. I haven't cried physically about it, but it's killing me inside to know, especially that there were infants on that plane.
There were over, 260 people, right, that were involved?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that is still quite a mystery. I mean, there's stolen passports or whatever, that the people that those passports belonged to were actually found, and, those people were at home fine, you know what I mean? And they ruled out the possibility of a terrorist attack as well.
Did they?
But, yeah. I believe so. I mean, you can look it up, but from what I read on some notable news sites, that's pretty much what it was. Pretty much what they said is that they ruled out that possibility. But that's really interesting because that just is something that is just so weird, so odd. How can you have a plane missing? They say that it could have disintegrated mid-flight. If it were to hit the water, then it should have been in the water, right?
Just the whole situation is sad because even if they all did die in a crash or disintegrated in the air, that's a horrible death. That must have been the scariest thing ever, to be experiencing that as your last moments. And if they are alive, are they being kept as hostages? That situation is just as scary.
Absolutely. I think the best way to go about this fear is to know that, hopefully these people aren't alive and having to suffer through that thing. But all in all, it's something that happened, and there's really nothing you can do besides wait for the answer to arrive for whatever happened. I mean, it's still being investigated. So I don't know exactly how to deal with that besides trying to say, hey, I mean, that's a really hard question to answer because imagine 9/11. What are people? How do people cope with that? You know what I mean? But obviously, with this, there's a plane that's missing with all those people who are claimed to be dead. So what do you guys think this person should do to deal with those emotions?
I don't even know what to say. I just keep checking the news.
I heard about something. Basically, it's a website or something, and it's just like showing satellite pictures, and people can just scroll through pictures and like kind of like Google Earth style, and if they think they see anything suspicious, they can report it and everything like that. I don't know what the URL is, but if you just Google it, then I'm sure you can find it. So maybe you could do that just to kind of help out, I guess.
All in all, the situation is very distressing, but I think that since it doesn't affect you personally in regarding to your family members, like your family members weren't going on that flight or anything like that, I know it sounds kind of self-centered, but don't worry about it. Just stop putting your attention on it if you don't want to deal with it anymore, and focus yourself on something else, on some other that's going on. Because news typically only shows negative things that happen in the world.
The other thought that I just had would even be if she's just feeling so much empathy towards the people on the plane and possibly even their families, see if she can kind of put all those feelings into some type of fundraiser or some sort of support for those families and for those people that were on the plane, because they'll all need lots of support in the weeks and months to come.
Okay. So in regard to feelings and controlling them and dealing with them, there's another question coming from Stacy Lou.
Is it normal to be afraid of feelings? I know this may sound weird, it baffles me, but I'm terrified of having feelings for people. I have a boyfriend, I love him, don't get me wrong, but the feeling itself scares me. I hate the idea knowing that he could crush me emotionally at any time. It's highly unlikely, but I don't like feeling this vulnerable. How do people deal with this? I don't think I have a fear of commitment.
Good job, Rebecca. Clap.
Thanks, Jim.
I think that's pretty normal, actually. I'm the same way.
I feel the same as well.
To be in love with someone is like, actually, to have any attachments. I'll tell you how sick I am. Actually, when I was like teenage years, I suppose, I would actually think about my immediate family, like my mother, my sisters, and I would think, wow, maybe life would be a lot easier if I didn't have them around, because I wouldn't have them to care about, and I could, do a lot more without holding back due to caring for people. Because the idea that, I don't know, just being attached to people, if knowing you could lose them, and whatever part of you that they're attached to, you lose that too, and it just feels like big holes inside of you. That's so frightening.
I think the longer you're with... Sorry.
Okay.
I think the longer... Okay. I think that the longer you're with somebody, the more confident you become in the relationship.
Huh.
That's all I had to say.
Is Jim
Yeah,
alive?
I agree with you on that. The longer you're with them, the more comfortable you are, the more confident. I mean, that all makes sense, you know what I mean? Because you're getting that comfortability with them.
But, and also consider that that's actually a good feeling, too, because to imagine when you feel nothing. I don't know if anyone's been in that situation, maybe even in a relationship, and you just don't feel anything. If the other person maybe even tells you that they love you, and you don't feel anything to be able to say that back, that's like just as bad as feeling as the fear. But at least with the fear of loving someone and being attached to them, it almost makes you want to stay alive it kind of keeps you on your toes. It kind of keeps life interesting, as maddening as that sounds.
That would kind of sustain the relationship a little bit, don't you think? Whereas on the opposite end, when
I love a little craziness, you know. Josh, you were saying you felt similar. Why?
It's just kind of the fear of losing someone that close to you. Like, if you love someone that much, I think it's, you know, I'd say it's pretty normal to be scared to lose that person. So, I don't know how to really cope with it because I've never really had experience with it, but, yeah, I don't really know what to say.
I think it's a good thing that you have that. It shows that you really care for this person. But it'll only be a bad thing, really, if it overtakes you in the process. You know, if you, because you know, sometimes if you dwell on something too much, it can actually have your fear will play out the way you are fearing it to be.
Manifest right? Destiny.
You're focusing on that too much. Don't you think wherever your focus is, something will come out of that?
Definitely. I'm a big believer in the power of energy and how you direct it, or, you know, if someone's around you and you can sense their energy, and that can either positive or negatively influence you. And so if you focus your thoughts on all your fears, you probably are going to make them come true just to reassure yourself that you know what you're talking about, you know, that you know what's best for yourself, when really you're just scaring yourself into not living at all.
It's like you are your own worst enemy or whatever.
You are my enemy.
Please leave that in.
I'm surprised you didn't sing that louder. You should have.
We don't have any Fozzy fans here. Mongoose McQueen.
No.
Who's rubbing their microphone like it's soft and tender?
I don't know. It's not me though.
It's probably...
That didn't sound right.
No, I don't think it's me.
Kiwi?
I was on mute.
It was Kiwi.
It's not the Kiwi.
It's the poet.
She's Jamaican now. It's not the Kiwi.
Jamaican me crazy.
Oh, damn it, I was about to make that joke.
Is there any other questions or comments you guys want to talk about? Or
does anyone want to vent?
I'm good.
You're good?
We're going to have like our venting section of the podcast or whatever.
I've got to get going.
Who asked?
Oh, do depression pills work? Oh.
Huh? Do depression pills work?
I'm reading my thing I wanted to say.
I've never really taken depression pills, so I wouldn't know.
I'm on them
really?
now.
Yeah, how's it going?
Are they working for you?
Here's the thing about antidepressants, is that they do not make you happy. And that's a common misconception they have.
What?
It just gives you a fighting chance. It just levels the playing field. And they don't work immediately. They will take from anywhere from maybe 2 to maybe even 8 weeks to start taking effect. And even then, you've still got to do a lot of work personally, like to better yourself and to make yourself feel a lot better. And in that kind of 2 to 8 week period, you will feel like shit. There's no escaping it. You will feel a little worse before you... It's true, you feel worse before you get better on antidepressants. It's just a matter of pulling through that time and giving them a chance to work. So far, they haven't really kicked in for me yet. I haven't really felt the full effect of them yet. But, it's coming along, and it's going to be soon, I can tell. I'm kind of starting to feel a little better. And honestly, they probably do work. But,
in the meantime, in the process of trying to get him to work, have you had any thoughts of suicide or any of those kind of things going on?
Yeah, of course.
Because I know.
I mean,
the thing of it is those antidepressants have those effects. Sometimes it can heighten those effects. Those feelings and thoughts.
They do. I mean, And
it's kind of sad. It's like completely contradictory for the purpose.
I know it, and I mean, I was probably worse before that as well. I mean, this is going very personal here, but I was having a really shit time the past couple of weeks, and it was really tough for me because it was like pretty much suicidal for 2 weeks straight, and and my therapist got really worried about me, and the doctor put me on antidepressants, and I felt pretty bad for a couple weeks, but then I started to slowly get better, and I guess that's them working, maybe. I'm not sure.
It's really sad that people feel suicidal and end up potentially doing that in the process. Is feelings are temporary, and situations are temporary. So it's like, well, are you gonna perform this action of ending your life while you're in an emotional state, and then consider the future circumstances or situations that you could be in, not to mention the consideration of your family and all that type of stuff. So it's like why do it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't understand why people commit suicide on a rational basis.
And people have helped me out a lot, especially on the site. During this time, I've met some incredible people, and they've helped me out a lot just by kind of like giving me just a random ass compliment. It isn't a lot, I know, but it made me smile a little bit, and it kind of made my day. So to those people, you know who you are. Thank you. Love you all. Thanks to the people on the podcast as well, just because I came to a few of you a couple of times in my worst moments, and you guys helped me out a lot, and you checked up on me, and that was really sweet, and I really appreciate it. I know I'm not the easiest to talk to, but thank you. And just for those people, it gets better. Trust me, it does. I've been through it a million times, so keep your chin up and keep going ahead with life. It's all good. Yay.
Yay.
Woohoo.
Processing excitement. Processing hope.
Oh my gosh. I got something to vent about. And this is Oh, hold on a minute. 1 second.
Oh boy. I really wish Kiwi lived here and you would cook for me.
Alright.
Hey, my husband's the chef, not me.
What? You can't cook?
I cook, but not as great as him.
Well, can he teach you before you come?
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
So you still want me to share or whatever? Or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go for it.
Alright. So, there's one thing that I do my life, and I really don't talk about this to anyone. I don't know, just because I'm reserved on my emotions and stuff. I don't know. One thing I have a problem with is I tend to, and this kind of goes off of what we were talking about earlier in regard to like emotions and feelings and kind of like hiding them, I guess, is that I typically never like express any emotion to people that I am not comfortable with or don't know. So in a sense, I guess it's my way of trying to get people to like me in a sense. Like for example, it doesn't matter where I am, where I'm at. If it's a public place, I'll either try to present myself in a professional and not like just like happy manner and whatnot. I mean, I don't really go out frustrated and all that stuff. I try to handle my emotions the best I can in public to kind of present myself as a happy person, I guess, if I am or if I'm not. And I feel like I have like a split personality kind of. Like when I'm at home, I'll do whatever the hell I want and kind of be this different person than it, because I feel comfortable expressing my emotions. Personally, I mean, with my family, but I'll get angry or upset or whatever. But when it's hard for me to be personable in that sense, because I hold back what I'm thinking, hold back what I'm feeling, and I don't really express that to people who are on the outside of my, intermediary family. And I guess that kind of prevents me from like having a lot of friendships, I think, because I kind of like that personable aspect. So do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I was about to end the call right there. I was like, are you serious?
No, sorry. I just can't really
No,
speak
I'm
because
listening.
there's 20,000 drunk people outside my window and it's going to come up on the microphone. Can you hear that?
Barely.
All right.
We're listening, Jim.
No, that was I just asked a question. I mean, do you guys understand what I'm talking about? I mean, is there anything? I mean, can you relate to that at all? I mean, no.
I probably show my emotions too much, actually, if that's at all possible, because I just get so emotional about either the tiniest little thing or a massive thing, which I think is really massive, but really it's not, if that makes any sense at all.
If I could reiterate that, I think what I'm trying to say is I hold back all my emotions, in a sense, out of the comfort of my own home. I kind of hold everything in, and I don't really like express that much emotion. I mean, people.
Does it bother
I
you?
don't know. It kind of does. It makes me feel like I'm like fake, in a sense, a little bit.
So, like, you're selective as to who you show your emotions to? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, for example, if I'm playing, like, I get around to golf with a friend, and they're getting mad or whatever, even if it's at work or whatever, I get mad. I control. I mean, it's a positive thing that I'm controlling my emotions, but sometimes I don't. Like, it's hard for me to be personable with people. If that makes sense, because I don't express, well, I feel this way or I feel that way, or I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm blah blah. I never tell people that I'm sad. I never tell people if something's going on in my life. I never ever do that.
Do you consciously do that, or is it something that's just okay? So you feel it and then you decide I'm not going to share it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to share like feelings with people, just because I don't want. I guess it's a consideration thing. It's just like I don't, or me like thinking that they're going to judge me or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's really hard for me to is it more or less like negative feelings in the sense if I'm going through a rough time, I don't talk to anybody about it.
I imagine at some
just hold everything in.
At some point in your life, you went through an experience where sharing your feelings went really bad, and after that, you just decided to probably shut it down. But that's just an unfortunate situation that something like that would happen at an age where it could stick with you for a long time ahead. But you, more than anyone, hosting this show, know that we can't let our fears consume us. If anything, they have to motivate us to grow beyond them.
It's not more of a fear, I think. It's more of a way to prevent, like, judgment.
That's a fear.
By other people.
That's still fear. If you fear, ridicule?
I guess.
I mean, it's not like you're not cowering in the corner, but everyone has that. What you're experiencing, I'm pretty sure many people go through it as well. But for the same reasons that you're all going through it, no one shares it with one another except for what you just did here. Which is, I think, that's you're setting an example, which is really good.
That's cool. But I mean, ultimately, it's not really a difficult thing because I can interact with people fine. It's more or less just like when it comes to my own emotional health or whatever. Sometimes when I want that, when I need that close emotional support, I don't give myself the ability to have that from someone else because I just kind of keep it in.
Yeah, it makes sense. I am like that. I am very much like that, and it's especially when my anxiety hits, and you just become you just feel like a different person, right?
Yeah.
And then you get home and you're safe and you're out of the public eye, I guess, and then you can be yourself. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have this thing as well. And it sucks. I know, trust me, because I do want to be myself, but I just feel like I can't. And the way I've been trying to kind of rectify that is just by doing it in kind of small doses, kind of because like I'm with you guys, I'm myself around you guys in the podcast. I'll say dicks a lot and I'll make jokes and all that shit, and I'll do that, and I'm trying to introduce that slowly into my kind of other social life, which is university and my friends and everything else. It's just slowly introducing it, so it isn't just hey, this is the new me, accept it. It's kind of you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel it.
And it's been working for me so far. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it has to deal with the way I grew up or whatever. Or the situations that I've dealt with, growing up as well. Because, I mean, just like most people, I mean, not most people, but just like a lot of people have dealt with, harassment and all that stuff, and just people not liking you, throughout different circumstances in your life. It's just sometimes those have a more profound effect on you growing up versus dealing with them now. But they still kind of affect you in some way. And I guess that's just one of the ways I kind of do that is because of the situations, I just try not to, I don't know, show my emotion as how I did it before.